Hi everyone, and a very good afternoon, and welcome to another exciting session of webinar by VLAN Asia, brought to you by VLAN Asia. I'm Norman, your host for today. To start, I would like to remind everyone to like our Facebook and follow us on LinkedIn as well. You can actually join us on Facebook and LinkedIn by searching for VLAN Asia or clicking on the link which is provided at the Q&A section on the right-hand side of your screen. In case that section is not open, you can actually click on the little blip with the question mark on the right-hand top corner and open that Q&A section. And throughout this whole webinar, you can actually drop in your questions so that we can take them. Just feel free to do that. For product inquiries, you can WhatsApp us at +6012 266 0189 for any product inquiries. So today we have our chief geek, Lance Chiang, to be presenting to you the fundamentals of digitalization. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting topic. So for those who are actually interested to know more about how you can digitize your business, how you're going to do online selling and stuff like that. Well, if you've not started yet, today's session is for you. So yeah, Lance, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Thank you very much, Norman. Just a quick housekeeping note. There is a QR code here in the screen that you see here. It is actually to take you to Slido. Slido is where later on I'll be actually asking a few questions, and I wanted to get some of your feedback and to see how we can make this webinar a little bit more interactive. So either scan that QR code or go to the website slido.com and then put in the code number, which is 759. Okay, thanks everyone for joining. Your presence is actually very humbling, especially now that everybody's already started work. This is our 19th webinar to date, and there's going to be more to come. So thank you for indulging us. Thanks Common Ground for being the gracious collaborators with us as well for this time. So we also welcome some guests from Common Ground as well. Today I'll be talking a little bit about the fundamentals of digitalization. What exactly is digitalization, and how can you do a bit more with less, right? Now, just a quick take. Do go to Slido. What does digitalization mean to you in one word? I'm opening up the poll right now. So please type in what does digitalization mean to you in just one word. I'm going to give about maybe 10 seconds for people to start putting in their words, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so while that's happening, I'm just going to run through some of the agenda. What are we going to be talking about today? What's the difference between digitalization and digitization? What do you need? Some cost advantages. And if you don't digitalize, some areas which you want to digitalize, some fundings, and some next steps. Okay. Some words coming in now. We've got culture, we've got technology, we've got automation. Keep it coming, guys. No, 3, 4 response so far. Okay, we've got e-commerce now. We've got online and internet. So most of you seems to be picking technology. Okay, interesting. Future. Okay, cool. All right. Coming back to the slides. Okay, what is digitization and what is digitalization? There's a difference between these two. Digitization is actually just literally taking a manual form and just turning it into an online form. It's just like literally copying or scanning a physical form into PDF and then saving it to a hard disk. That's digitization. Digitalization is slightly is a bit more than that. It's taking an entire business process and changing it with technology. Give an example how we did our digitalize. One of the things that we've done. We used to, we have 10 engineers at the moment, my company, and we used to have travel claims and travel allowances of close to the tune of maybe about 10,000 bucks a month. That's quite high. And I also realized that every month end, everybody, all of our engineers seem to be always in the office. Then I got curious and asked, why are you guys always in the office at every month? And oh, we're sticking our claims. Huh? What do you mean sticking our claims? You know, our little receipts, we actually had to stick on a piece of paper and submit it to finance. All 10 of my engineers in the office for 4 hours a day. That's 40 hours of non-productive time where the engineers are actually not serving the customers. So, and not including the time spent that our finance actually has to go through to actually check and make sure that all those receipts are correct or not for audit purposes. So it was very inefficient. It was very slow. It took, and if you think about it, if let's say if you were to spend on travel claims before you actually get paid compensated, you're actually literally giving a loan to the company, interest free, and sometimes you don't get your claims given back to you in the next 1 or 2 months. So you're actually giving an interest free loan. So that's not cool. So I decided, I think we need to do something about it. So what we did is we did a little bit of a sanity check on this process, and we thought, hey, why don't we do something funky? What we did was we actually abolished our travel claims, but we actually got everyone a corporate Grab account. And that corporate Grab account is actually tied to my credit card. How did this help is, month end, there's no more claims because everybody takes Grab to wherever they need to go, right? And while in the Grab, they still can work even. Then they don't have to collect receipts. They don't have to make sure that they keep the receipts, and they don't have to spend that 4 hours anymore. So if you think about it, on top of that, you not only save time, we also saved a lot of hassle, where we don't have to look for parking, we don't have to sweat and run when we're actually late for the appointment because we're spending too much time parking. And in the end of the day, there's only one bill to process, which is my credit card bill. So instead of sticking 300 claim receipts, we only stick one. We only claim one credit card bill. So it saved everybody a heck of a lot of time. Everybody don't have to spend their own money to travel, and I get to collect credit card points. So that's quite fun. Hey, we got more feedback from just now. We've got getting connected virtually, we've got efficiency, we've got transformation. Oh, very good, but the biggest is still about technology. Okay, cool. Now, so that's digitization, that's digitalization. Digitalization is changing the entire process with technology. And in our case, in the claims, in that case where I brought up just now, it's about Grab. It's as simple as just implementing Grab. All right. So these are some of the reasons why some companies usually say they want to digitalize. I want to do e-commerce. I want to track my customers. I want my reports to come out faster. I got no visibility over my projects. Blah blah blah. I want to get licensed. I want to work from home. I want to make more informed business decisions. So what is this digitalization about? Right? Everybody talk about technology, right? But actually, digitalization is not about technology. It's not about technology. It's actually about people. It's about the mindset of having constant improvement. So without the right people, right, no amount of canggih technology can save you, lah. Like for example, myself, I'm terribly disorganized. I tried to organize myself with things like tools like Trello, Planner, It goes well for a week, then it usually fizzles out, lah. So an example, let's say if I get a name card at an event, right, I'm supposed to call this person next day, right, for a potential business deal, right, chances are I would have lost the card. Then 1 week later, right, yeah, I see the card. Then when I call the guy, I say, hey, I want to work with you more. Why? I thought you were too busy to actually call me. That's why now I know. now that you're calling me, I feel very privileged. I said, what? I lost your card, man. Anyway, so it's not about technology. It's about people. It's having the right mindset to actually improve a process that doesn't make sense, which is what I meant by sanity check just now. So for us, VLAN Asia, right, we digitalized our company because we wanted to give the best possible customer experience to our customers. But we can't do that if our data was all over the place. Our data was not accessible anywhere at any time. It takes us a long time to actually get back to our customers. We have to rely on our office for work. Like for example, now if we were not digitalized, I think we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing now either. I won't have an overview of my numbers. I would have to worry about security. I have to figure out how to get signatures on manual forms. and I'll be subject to a lot of human error if a lot of things are still manual, right? So it's been 3 years and we are still digitalizing. We are not done yet. So it's a continuous process which we constantly learn from and we constantly improve, right? What's the cost of not digitalizing? So your cost will always increase. You'll always be inefficient. You are ripe for disruption. This is a very big issue here. If you don't digitalize, somebody else can actually run faster than you. You get a false sense of security until a massive crisis strikes. Like now, for example, now imagine if your office doesn't have VPN and your accounting system is actually in the office. You don't need to pay bills. You don't know who owes you money. A lot of things you can't do. And everything else is getting faster, more personalized, more convenient, and it's getting more and more each day. So that's why you should always think about constantly improving yourself, right? The Bezos letter, this guy, Steve Anderson, he actually wrote this book called The Bezos Letters. So basically what happened in 1997 or so, Jeff Bezos wrote a letter to their shareholders. And he actually said that there's actually no day two in Amazon, right? Amazon, there's only day one, which means the moment you enter day two, I mean, if you're in IT, right, day two means BAU support, business as usual support. So if you enter day two, you're already on the road to irrelevance. So I think that's actually very true, and I realize a lot of my peers are floundering a little bit. So that's why I feel I feel my company, VLAN Asia, we've been on the right track for the past couple of years. So we were very ready for when the MCU actually happened. Okay, so if you did not digitalize, chances are you'll be in this scenario. You don't get it because after cutting all the budget, why can't we move anymore? Why can't we move forward anymore? Because you cut everything away anymore. How are you going to move forward anymore? Right? Ideally, you will want to be moving your boat this way. The leader is in front beating the drum and everybody is rowing to a single tempo and everybody working in unison, right? But realistically, this usually happens. Somebody say want to go that way, another person want to go that way, and if there's no real good leadership, then again you get pulled all over the place. But I don't know about you guys. I prefer to be this guy. I prefer to be the laziest guy who actually sits down on a boat, motorboat, and actually get to point A to point B without me having to exert much strength. The guy, I think, is a little bit overweight as well. So a lot of people also ask me sometimes, right? But what happens if that motor fails? Then my whole business die out? No, you put more motors. So you can put in redundancies to the systems that you implement to make it feel safe and a bit more foolproof. Yeah. Now, what's the biggest hindrance to digitization, especially here in Malaysia? Manual labor is cheap. You want to automate data entry into automate data entry into an accounting system. Just hire a fresh guy, type it in law. But unfortunately now, because COVID-19, people are starting to realize that they can't hire people so easily. They rather rely on technology moving forward, and digital transformation isn't exactly years away anymore. It's going to happen. It's happening right now. Because if you don't, the market's going to wreck you, right? So what do companies need to digitalize? The first item is the most important. The leadership must always buy in. If the leaders don't believe in constant improvement, if the leaders think that the status quo is the way to go, then you're on the way to irrelevance. Everyone in my company in VLAN Asia has an entrepreneurial mindset. It's actually part of our core values. We always strive to continuously improve our process ourselves. In fact, each of us actually have a chart on the side of our table that actually lists down every single webinar, every single online course that we've gone through. So at the end of this MCO, once our office really opens, we'll actually compare notes. So the longest list will actually get something lah. So we gamify things in this sense. We need internal change agents as well. For example, let's say if you want to implement this change, if you don't have enough people to actually champion, you don't have a person to actually champion it, that means a person in charge to actually oversee this change is going to be very difficult as well, because even if leadership buys in, if there's nobody on the ground to actually execute, it's still going to be very difficult for you to digitalize. You need a process for change, and of course you need a plan, right? Now, these are some of the 5 areas that you can start with. These are the 5 areas that we did very well with, and we feel that we can share some of these experiences with our customers and also you guys as well in the audience right now. So let's talk about people productivity first, right? Typically, these are some of the questions that people will ask. Right, these were the questions that we asked ourselves starting 3 years ago. How do I start working from home? How do I get my staff to collaborate better? How do I manage my teams remotely? Blah, blah, blah. There can be all sorts of different questions. I'm very sure some of you have some of your questions as well. Feel free to actually ask me questions either on Teams or on Slido. Slido also has a Q&A section, which I will monitor as well. So these are some of the questions that we ask ourselves. How do we improve ourselves in this sense? If you think about it, if you implement all 9 of these, right, you're already far ahead of a lot of people already. So for us, how we improved our productivity, especially during this MCO period, is that we use video conferencing a lot because we can't go out, so we have to use Microsoft Teams a lot lah. So we do our daily huddles at 9:30, 9:45, and 10 o'clock with different departments, and everything is minuted. So and everybody actually attends this meeting. Prior to this, if we weren't on Microsoft Teams, chances are we were on Zoom. And that's what everybody else is doing. But Zoom, I suppose, does its job for video conferencing, but it doesn't give you all the collaborative tools that you can see in item 2 to 9. Corporate chat, we don't use WhatsApp. Or at the very least, I don't use WhatsApp because it's very distracting. It's very difficult to respond to everybody when everybody expects you to respond to them immediately. And again, the problem is it's not auditable. It's not there's no audit trail to it. Yes, you can probably take a screenshot, but I don't think that's enough if you really want to do audit trails. Yeah, we integrated our calendars with video conferencing. So basically, we can set up. We actually set up video conferencing meetings on our calendars directly through Microsoft Teams. So that's a lot more convenient. You don't have to. And a good thing about it is also you can actually see that whether or not your counterpart is the person that you want to meet is actually available or not. You might suggest a time, and then you can see that the red light is on. I don't think you can do this in Teams because you don't have access to their calendars. So, you can't do this with Zoom because you don't have access to their calendars, right? So we can actually do things like file sharing, collaboration, all within Teams itself. We can do forms. We automate processes. Now, one example of automation of processes is today this webinar that you're attending, right? When you actually clicked on the link to actually register, that actually is Microsoft Forms, which is also is part of Office 365. That form actually goes into a database, which again, using Microsoft Office, we automated the entire process where after you register, you get a link to the webinar. You also get a calendar invite to the webinar, and I think one day before the webinar, you get reminded. And I think today also you got a reminder that the webinar is going to be starting at 3 o'clock today. So all of these processes are actually automated. So prior to our webinar today, I was actually sitting together with the marketing team, and we were actually talking about our website. We weren't even talking about reminding our audience to actually come for the webinar because it's all automated, right? And item 9. Team productivity reporting. Now, contrary to popular belief, right, you actually can track how productive your team are when they're working from home if you really want to. For example, you can actually see how productive these guys are. For example, the guy on top there is Prakash, he's my GM, and the guy at the bottom there is Pranav. Doesn't look like he's doing much. you can also see how active some people are in some channels and how many messages they send during the day. It's not just about moving your mouse here. It's about messages you send, how many channels you've been talking in, how many calls you've made within Microsoft Teams. All of this is actually auditable if you want to. For me, I don't, but just for argument's sake, you can. Yeah. This is interesting. This is an interesting stat that I actually can view as well about myself. Ignore the part where I actually send emails out at 1 AM as well. But I can tell that 4 o'clock is actually my ideal time to actually work. So if you really want to catch me at my most productive state, is at 4 o'clock. Probably it's because I know that I'm going to stop work soon. But if you look at my trend, I seem to work quite a fair bit. But that's the life of as an entrepreneur, man. But it gives me some insight about myself and how I can use my time a bit better. This next one is actually also very interesting, where I know how much time I spend collaborating with my team and also with customers, and how much time that I spend with myself. So 35% I spend on collaboration. I have meetings, I meet my team, we discuss stuff, and 65% of time is actually available for myself to focus and to think about how I can serve my customers better. Because creativity, right, doesn't happen by accident. Creativity, because you see, your conscious brain, right, has the infinite capacity of maybe about 2 feet in front of you. Whatever you see 2 feet, that's what your conscious brain has the capacity to think. Whereas your subconscious brain behind you, this is where you know those sometimes when you want to make a decision, your gut tells you, no, I don't think that's the right thing to do. This gut feel is actually your subconscious brain thinking, and this subconscious brain actually has access to the equivalent of maybe about 11 acres of information that you might not even realize is part of in your brain. So have you sometimes realized that when somebody asks you a question now, you probably give a standard answer, right? But 1 week later, when you're in the shower washing your hair, right, you say, yeah, why didn't I answer it that way instead? Why didn't I respond to that question in a different manner, which will give bigger impact? So that's because your subconscious brain has been working on it, and when you are not doing anything, that's when your subconscious brain actually is most active. Right, so you need to give your mind some time to float on its own. That's why sometimes ideas come to you when you're drinking coffee or when you're in the toilet. So if you're constantly looking at your phone, if you're constantly in meetings, you don't have time to actually access that part of the brain that actually gives you more information or allows you creativity to problem solve. So if you're always checking your phones, all the gaps where you have time to be creative is gone. That's why WhatsApp is very, very distracting. There's no time for you. There's no downtime, and there's no time for you to focus. Right. So it's through downtime and innovation. It's through downtime that innovation and creativity really can thrive. So that's why I make it a point to actually schedule downtime so that I have time to think. And I would encourage all of you to do the same as well. Otherwise, you will always be stuck in the rat race and you will never have time to think. All right, with me so far. If there's any questions, feel free to ask in Slido or anywhere else. Yeah, there are a few questions. Are there any questions for now? Okay, no. Okay, I'll move on. Finance and accounting. So some of you maybe are from finance department. So these are some of the questions or areas that we asked ourselves about finance and accounting. How do we digitalize and how do we make things better? Some of the biggest number one problem that we faced was data entry, and because data entry, number one, is very tedious. Number two, it's what a lot of accountants really hate doing, but they still have to do it. You need to key in invoices, you need to key in purchase orders, kind of nonsense. So it takes up a lot of time, right? And of course, you've got things like infrastructure, where let's say you've got an accounting system, where is it sitting, the server, is it backed up? Do I have to worry about ransomware, that kind of nonsense? Is my software up to date? How do I track how do I do audit trails and such? How do I integrate this system with my warehousing system? If there's a new change in regulation, how do I actually make sure that my system's up to date? Sometimes a lot of these are additional that you need to pay, or you need to engage somebody to come and set it up for you, especially during that GST time. And when they change to SSD, it also vary 3%, 6%. Well, a lot of it. So by digitalizing, of course, you can make things a lot more efficient. And for us, what we use is a system called Zero, which is a cloud accounting system that actually took away most of all these problems actually you see here. Because number one, I don't have to worry about hardware support or infrastructure because it's running on cloud. I just need a web browser. I lose my computer, I just turn on another computer, open the browser, log in, I'm done. I can continue work again. I get my financial reports as easy as clicking a few buttons. And for data entry, so typically your data entry cycle is like this. You've got multiple data entry points. You will type a quotation, that's data entry. When somebody confirms the quotation, you need to type the PO to the. Sometimes one quotation, one thing that you're selling has multiple POs to different distributors or different suppliers. So there's a lot of POs that you need to do data entry as well. Accounts team, you need to put in the invoices, you need to do your books, data entry. So how Zero actually helped us is that we only do data entry once at the quotation stage. The rest of the data entry is taken away because you just copy that same information into all like POs or invoices. So it makes things a lot easier. So the chances of human error is much reduced, right? And also now this is also another big pain in the butt that our finance always hates doing last time. We actually had to do, I mean, all finance people also have to do this, like, at the end of the month, you get the bank statement, which is like 5, 10 pages long, which of all your bank transactions. You see the accountant actually taking a ruler and actually mapping, oh, this one is 555, then you check against the accounting system. Oh, okay, this one is this payment, and check. That's a reconciliation. So Zero helped us in a way that it actually used some form of AI to actually pick up. Say, for example, I've got an outstanding invoice for 6187, and then I have an inbound payment from in the bank that is 6187. Zero is actually smart enough to actually match it for you and asks, is this for this transaction, for this invoice? Yes, you just click on OK. You're reconciled. Every transaction, maybe you save half a minute. If you're talking about 5,000 transactions, you save a heck lot of time. Right, so now it's a breeze. So so there's a lot of ways you can actually make your life easier by implementing proper systems for accounting system for your accounts and your bookkeeping. And then of course you got all of your GL and such, which is also part of your system. So it's quite complete. I would say it's very complete. And there's a lot of things that we also don't use it ourselves. So feel free to ask us a bit more later. For HR and payroll, some of the questions that people usually ask is, how do I stay compliant? How do I do with paper slips? What days leave I have left? How do I make my payroll more efficient? Before we actually implemented systems like this, we take about a day and a half to actually process payroll. So now it's like less than half an hour. So it saves a lot of time. One of the item number 9 is quite interesting, which is how do I ensure my policies and my handbooks are read and accepted by staff. So we actually developed a system internally to actually do this, which I'll talk to you in a short while. Payroll systems are a dime a dozen. There's quite a number of payroll systems out there. Currently, we use Payroll Panda. There are others like Kaki Tangan or Easy Pay or something like that. That gives you pretty much whatever that you need. That takes away your pay slips. You don't have to worry about printing pay slips. They calculate your EPF, your SOXO, your PCB, and the reporting is actually quite good already. So that you can actually send pay slips through email as well. So it makes things a lot easier, faster, and you don't have to buy another server to actually do payroll systems. So these are actually quite common payroll systems, so you can explore that. E-leave and e-claims, these are systems that we built ourselves internally. This is e-claims, so basically you can actually claim. It's as simple as just using your phone, just taking a picture of the claim, putting in the details, submit it. Your boss, who is on top here, will actually approve it for you. This is all done on your phone or very conveniently on your phone, and it's actually a value-added service that we actually add on to our Office 365 customers. Same goes with leave. You get to see how many more days you have, and how much, what's pending, who is applying leave through you, as in who is your approver and such. So you can actually apply for a leave here. This policy acceptance system. So just now I mentioned about the employee handbooks and such. So actually we built this system for a customer of ours where they wanted to use, they wanted to be compliant for the MACC law section 17A, where it says that the board of directors of any companies can be liable if any of your staff actually accepts or gives a bribe, even with or without your knowledge. So the board of directors, they are liable. So this company approached us, can you build us a system where we can actually ensure that our staff actually read through all of this, and they accept it, saying that they will not give or accept a bribe. I mean, that's one of the compliance requirements, so that even in the event that, let's say, one of your staff actually do commit an offense, right? At least you're protecting yourself somewhat, that this person already was this person was educated, and he was not supposed to do this, but he still did it anyway. But then he did it anyway, and at least I cover myself by saying that I already educated him. So we built this system for that purpose. But this company, another one of our customers actually got a bit creative with this, because imagine you send something to somebody, they have to accept it, right? So what they did was they actually used this system to send a fake phishing email to test their staff's literacy in cybersecurity. So it's a controlled phishing environment where they send out, oh, please change your password by clicking on this link. Some people actually click on it. So then the IT department actually call, hey, why are you going and click that link? It's a phishing email. But it's at least it's for educational purposes, which you can do internally, which is good in the sense where you actually where you can actually teach people that don't simply click on links, even though it might seem to be coming from a source that is legitimate. So that's where ransomware usually happens, when you actually accidentally click on a link, then your whole company gets ransomware. So this is one creative way of using systems like this as well. Right. So any questions so far? I don't think I see any questions, but feel free to ask any questions along the way. Yeah. Great. Customer experience. This is more for sales, marketing, and technical support. This is like our holy grail, where we help, we manage our customers from pre all the way to post support. Yeah. Now, okay. These are some of the questions that typically somebody would ask if you're talking about customer experience, whether or not it's pre-sales, post-sales, so many channels, how to make sense out of it. How do I use WhatsApp in my business? How do I improve my customer service? Blah, 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 blah. Right. These are some of the questions that you will ask if you're in sales. How do I find new customers? How do I keep track of all my leads and prospects? How do I do webinars like this? How do I track visits to my website? This is interesting. How do I do e-commerce, influencer marketing? How do I collect payments online? So this is all about sales and marketing. Now, 76%, this is a statistic by Zendesk themselves. 76% of customers actually prefer self-service. Sometimes when somebody asks you to do something, I do myself. But 20% of the time, right, is actually spent looking for information. So how do you increase or improve the quality of your customer support while reducing your cost? How do you do that? All right. Okay, quick take. Can you please go to Slido again? Okay, can you go to Slido again? This is the next question that I asked. What do you usually do before you buy a product online? Can you scan that or type it in? Maybe you can start doing, give maybe 10 seconds for this. Okay. Okay, while waiting for the results to come through, we'll go on. So if you look at this, Netflix didn't kill blockbusters, the late fees did. Airbnb didn't kill the hotel industries, limited access to pricing options did. So if you look at it, right, technology itself isn't the disruptor here, but not being customer-centric really is. Yeah. So what do you do? So you reframe the conversation. For us, we used to ask this question: what are the customers' requirements? So we didn't want to use it anymore, right? We decided to ask ourselves, what experience should our customers get from us? Right, so we improve ourselves so that our customers will get better. Then we meet those expectations with technology. The technology can mean that it increases your speed, your accuracy, your conciseness, but ultimately the cost will definitely be lower. All right, here's some results. Oh, you check out their website, 100%. Everybody's looking for our website. You check out their Facebook, you visit the offline store. Oh, you call them. Oh, people actually call them. Cool. Emails, Instagram. Okay, WhatsApp is picking up. Okay, so you check out their website. So now you realize that website is actually very important to a lot of businesses, right? So we are guilty for this. We are actually revamping our website as we speak. Feel free, keep the answers coming. Facebook, yeah. So if you look at it right now, it's website and Facebook, which is the most popular. But the key point that I want to make here is that most businesses really cannot keep up with the changing customers' expectations, because the point of this poll that I showed just now, right, is that a lot of us are very different in our preference when we are shopping online. It can be social media, instant messaging, email, calls, etc. The one that zero is SMS, which I hope you're not using SMS anymore. And because there are so many channels, right? How do you make sense of all of that? How do you keep up with all of your different customers' expectations, right? How do you actually integrate all of these communication channels into one single platform, which we've done using a product called Zendesk. So what we've done is we collate all of these inquiries or support requests or sales requests or quotation requests into Zendesk, and everything is tracked through there. So for WhatsApp, that's our number there, 012-266-0189. First person to WhatsApp this number with the word digitalization with your name now gets a free espresso lab coffee on me. Come on, let's do it. So we will send you the coffee. We will monitor it, and then we'll send you guys the coffee once we get it through. Right? Cool. Now technology, infrastructure. These are some of the questions that we ask ourselves about IT. What about IT, about digitalization? Because just like I said, digitalization is about people, right? But what about IT? Everybody thinks it's about technology, right? So this is more about infrastructure, things like about server rooms, things about server rooms like servers. How much do I have to spend on servers? Really so expensive? The license and servers different one. I need to hire engineers to manage those servers. So for us, last time I was a hosting company. We used to host customers from in Hong Kong, in Korea, in Singapore, in India, and also in Malaysia. So at our peak in Malaysia, I think we had about maybe 4 racks of servers. But 5 years ago, I decided to make a conscious decision to actually chop all that and decided to move all of our customers to cloud. The reason being is because of all these questions that you see here. Because it got too expensive and it got too, and I started to lose sleep because I really had to worry about whether or not the server is going to go down overnight or not. So I get item number 9 a lot. Is cloud secure? In fact, this morning somebody just asked me the same question. Is cloud really secure? Usually my question back is, how much did you spend on cybersecurity? Do you think you can outspend the likes of Microsoft and Google on cybersecurity? If your answer is, I don't know how much I spent. So those guys spend billions on billions of dollars first on cybersecurity. They replace their hardware every like 2 years or so. So they're always up to date with the latest hardware. They've always got the latest software installed. They spend so much money on cybersecurity. And for example, in Microsoft's case, let's say you subscribe to Office 365 or maybe Microsoft Azure, which is their infrastructure as a service, server as a service. The closest data center is in Singapore, so chances are your data is in Singapore. So there's a misconception that people think that if the data is in cloud, I don't know where it is. That's not true again, because you know exactly where it is. It's in a data center in Singapore. Which exact server you might not know, but you know it's in Singapore. So you know how to position your compliance. You know how to position your data residency laws accordingly. So, and on top of that, your data is also replicated, or rather the entire data center is actually replicated to the closest two data centers, which is, I believe, in Hong Kong and in Australia. So for whatever reason, if the data center in Singapore blows up or something, right, your data immediately, or rather your access to your servers will automatically shift to either Hong Kong or to Australia. Microsoft's data center, I believe they give a service level agreement of 99.999% uptime, which is 5 nines, which means every year they only can go down for 4 hours. Do you think any of our data centers in Malaysia can actually follow that kind of SLA? It's very difficult because it costs a lot of money. So again, it's all about cybersecurity. So is cloud secure? I think it's a bit more secure than the server in my server room last time. So that's why I decided to move all my customers to cloud. So, end of the story, moral of the story, go cloud. Replace all the outdated servers, licenses, and data centers. Let somebody else figure that out. Let somebody else worry about it. You focus on your business. Okay. I'm coming towards the end. So what's the whole idea behind all of this, right? What's the whole idea? For me, I always believe to make small piecemeal changes, because small incremental steps, right, go a really long way. You save 2 minutes a day. At the end of the week, you save quite a lot of time. You save 2 minutes a task, right? For example, data entry. We used, or rather manual. We used to do a lot of manual billing before we started using Xero. So now, and during billing months, because we send out maybe 300 or 400 bills on a monthly basis. So during billing months, the poor operations team will have to stay in the office until about 1 or 2 a.m. preparing bills. Now at least they go home at 6. So I think that's a very good improvement for us already. So that's some of the improvements that we've done. Change is definitely scary. You're going into unknown territory. You're going to be forced to learn new things. You're going against status quo. FUD means fear, uncertainty, and doubt. You don't know what's going to happen, especially now, right? So these are my recommended next steps. There are a few things that I think you can do. You can map out your company strategy with the digital strategy. If you already have a strategy, that'd be awesome. You just have to plug in the relevant technologies to help achieve some of those goals. Don't have a digitalization strategy, or rather plug digitalization into your existing company strategy. If you don't have a company strategy, feel free to reach out to me as well. Maybe we can help you out as well. Then you map out the business needs to what you think can be improved. For example, I give you the example of the claims process, which we did previously. We just used Grab. That made a lot of help and made a heck of a lot of difference. What are the goals you want to achieve using technology and digitalization, and some of the priorities, and rank them. Okay, and then of course you identify the internal champion as well. Then after you have all of that, you map the technology, you map the timeline to achieve those goals. Then you find the funding to actually make the change, and you make the change. Right? Somebody asked me earlier that how much does it usually cost? Actually, it doesn't cost as much as you think. But if you think the number is big, right? There's some available government aid that allows you to help you digitalize as well. We are also a technical service provider for MDEC. So I believe some of you probably would have heard that MDEC is giving away a 5,000 ringgit grant for anybody who's trying to move to digital. 5,000 ringgit maybe can get you a few things, maybe a CRM or maybe an accounting system for a year or so. So it's better than nothing. ADF, the Automation and Digitalization Fund, this one was introduced, I believe, during the COVID period, where the bank negara is actually underwriting quite a fair bit of the risk through CGC to help companies to digitalize. I believe the fund goes into 7 figures. So there's available money out there for you to actually use. So you don't necessarily have to use your own money to, at least in the beginning, you need to pay back as a loan, but then at least you have the initial funds to actually help you digitalize and move forward. Otherwise, you'll always be stuck where you are, and if you don't go digital now, you saw just now some of my slides, you're going backwards or somebody else will overtake you. Right. So if you want to know more about the digitalization grant from MDEC, feel free to scan that code. We'll send you a deck on how to actually apply through us and some of the systems that we carry that you can apply for, and you can also use to get some of the money from MDEC. All right, I believe the government has recently given even more money into that to MDEC to help SMEs digitalize as well. So there's quite a fair bit of money. The only difficult part is probably opening the bank account in BSN. So, but that's a different story, lah. Okay, that's the end of my presentation. That's my contact details there. Feel free to reach out if you want to learn more. If you want help with your business as well, we also have a business consulting arm where we actually help you chart out maybe a 12-month priority list or annual goal for your team. And then we see how we can actually plug in technology to help you. Some of those products that we carry are listed there as well: Xero, Microsoft Stuff, and HubSpot, Zendesk. I want to thank Common Ground for co-organizing this with us, and also to the rest of my team who actually helped out to organize this. I'm taking questions now, so feel free to drop me any questions either on Slido or on Microsoft Teams as well.
Yep. Thanks, Lance. Before we take the questions, I'd just like to announce the winner for the Espresso Lab offer. Mabel from Nature Venture. She's the first person that WhatsApp.
Nice.
WhatsApp in. Okay, there are a few questions, Lance. Perhaps you can answer them. One is from Peter. He's asking, how has this MCO affected VLAN team and their workflow, such as working from home?
That's a good question. Thanks for that. To be honest, I'm very happy that we are working from home, because we started our digitalization journey 3 years ago. We were fairly ready for this. In fact, 2 weeks before the MCO started, we already started rotation, working from home. It's just that, and when the MCO actually happened, we were like, oh, okay, we all work from home. So we weren't really affected. And the only problem was that our customers were affected. So that affected our cash flow, naturally. But other than that, for work-wise, in fact, I feel that we are a lot more productive now. And I feel that we are actually getting more traction and getting more opportunities because we are using new channels to actually find new business as well. This is one of them. In fact, if anybody want to learn more about webinars, feel free to reach out to us as well. We feel that I feel that the MCO has been good for us, and it opened our eyes to actually realize that the old way of doing things was so inefficient. Yep. I hope that answered your question.
Another question is, Xero is VLAN's internally developed API app?
No. Xero is actually a product from New Zealand. They are listed in Australia. I think their market cap is about $1.5 billion or something like that. If I actually developed that, I will say it, but then no lah. But we do have integrations between our systems and Xero. For example, we are working with a point of sale system right now to actually push point of sales data into Xero. So it makes things a lot easier for the accounts people to actually reconcile their daily sales and to get reporting based on individual outlets. So Zero does that for you, and we are working together with the POS provider to actually integrate that. For us internally also, we build our own systems, or rather we actually build a list, what we call our own client master list, where Zero actually pulls information from that master list to actually do individual billings, which is why my billing team can actually go home a bit earlier now, because most of the billings are automated as well. So it's customizable, or rather it's integratable with external systems to make your life a lot easier.
Yeah, we have a blog on that as well on our website, VLAN.asia. Yeah,
Yes.
on Zero. Ru wants to find out, would you say that digitalization makes working from an office redundant, obsolete?
Well, for me, I have half a mind of getting rid of the office. So we've not been to the office, or rather, we've not been to the office for the past 3 months now. I mean, occasionally I go in there and pick up 1 or 2 items, but if you ask me, I can be working on a beach somewhere. I don't think we need to be in the office, if you ask me. Of course, it depends on the industry you're in as well. I mean, some industries, like if you're in manufacturing, it doesn't make sense if you work from home. Like, you can't really build a car in your house, right?
True. I think this question, the next question, is pertaining the policy acceptance system. It's anonymous. It's asking, how does the cost structure work for this system, by user or by each announcement/policy?
Okay. So there's a few ways of doing this. I mean, if you're going to use it as extensively as I think you would, we can go on either a monthly retainer, or if your number of users is low, then we can go on a per user basis. It really depends on your usage. But what we do is this system is actually tied to Office 365. So basically, if you're Office 365 subscriber through us, we actually give this as a value-added service.
Yep. Yeah, it's not. We don't just sell the software. We also give you other services included, right?
Correct. So for example, e-leave and e-claims, I believe there's a promo now. You get the first year for free. So yeah, there's quite a number of things that you can get as value added from us.
And those are developed in-house.
Yes, these are systems that we develop in-house. No, not in New Zealand.
Yeah. Besides that, I think also there are other ways of simplifying work processes in the office. That's what digitalization is all about, right, Lance?
Yes, definitely.
Right. Yeah. I think that's all the time we have for today, Lance.
Okay.
It's already. Yep. It's already.
Thank you very much, everyone. Your time is much appreciated. Just want to show you all one last time the poll just now that you did. So most of you actually said check out their website. So cool. I think I can buy that. And for this one, what does digitalization mean to you? There's a few other words that people put in. Kaizen. Oh, okay, must be somebody from Kian. Save paper. Get connected, virtual automation. Yeah, cool. These are all very good words, but the key thing is not about technology. The key thing here is about process, about people.
Yeah, these are methods that you don't use when you're having a physical presentation. Sometimes these are things that we realize, hey, yeah, it's so useful, right? Virtually.
Yeah, for me, the reason why I don't put technology ahead is because if you put technology in front, if you decide on a technology before you figure out what the problem is, right? Say, for example, I want to implement a CRM. Yeah, I would usually ask the question, why do you want to do it? Because if you say, I want to implement this CRM, I will say the analogy is you're actually putting the cart in front of the horse. You're finding the solution before you figure out what the problem is. So in order for you to find the right solution, you need to know what exactly is your problem first. So until that happens, any amount of technology might not solve their problem.
Yeah, true. In essence, you need to actually understand what you want first before you actually develop something, right?
Correct. So everything that we do, we find the problem first. Then only we find the solution to actually to solve that problem. Don't buy a solution before you know what the problem is going to solve.
Right. Okay. Thanks a lot, Lance. For the rest of y'all who are still around, we will be sending you the recording for today's webinar as well as the deck that Lance has actually shared. For any other inquiries, you can actually WhatsApp us or also check us out on our social media, Facebook and LinkedIn, VLAN.asia, or go to our website, VLAN.asia, if you want to send us an email or inquiries on the products, it's all on the website. You can also send us a message through the website as well, and then we will get in touch with you guys. So yeah, thanks everyone, and have a nice day.
Thank you very much.